Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so uh, I want to talk about what I saw tonight with the Dallas Mavericks and the Lakers a little bit, because I'm listening to folks talking about LeBron James and how he sold tonight and how he didn't have it. And the perspective that I had on the game in regards to LeBron James, I think, is a little different because I really kind of took the side of he's coming back from what he said was some type of ankle ailment that kept him away from the Denver game. And we threw him out there and played him in a really, really, really physical basketball game, a whole lot of minutes. Undermanned at that. And when you do that, you get the same dynamic we had as last year, which is him getting clobbered, him getting pressured by everybody. And you gotta understand, that was Jason Kidd he was going up against. Jason Kidd coached LeBron James in the 2020 championship as an assistant coach. And we all know Jason Kidd and Lionel Hollins were the guys who were really on the sidelines digging in. With respect to Coach Vogel, I can't speak to that. With respect to Coach Vogel, those coaches had a whole lot to do with the schemes that we were using and ultimately how we ultimately captured that championship in that bubble. So when we go up against a guy like Jason Kidd, his defense against these Lakers is going to be unique. And that's exactly what I saw tonight. From the very beginning, they were throwing people at LeBron James, bumping him and double teaming him and putting him in positions to be forced into passing. And I personally think they wore him down. They wore him down tonight, man. And then you got to deal with mental fatigue as well when the referees are not calling it at all. And tonight, some of the calls that he didn't get were so ridiculous. Some of the ways that he was being punished physically out there without the calls coming his way, it becomes a mental fatigue thing to where you're like, I'm not getting the calls when I drive, and I don't want to get hurt out here because they're trying to center this game a certain way. And so that's my point of view in watching it, and that's why I gave LeBron a pass on some of them plays, some of them three-point shots that he took down the stretch. Not to say that I'm giving him a pass for them, because I summed it up, it's just not very smart basketball, all of it. Everything I saw down there was just low IQ basketball. But from his perspective, I looked at how he was being played defensively and officiated tonight a certain way. And because of it, I kind of just was looking at it from the lens of he's not really doing all that bad, even though his shooting wasn't good. We were missing a lot of layups. But see, here's the thing. This is something else that I was paying attention to, which is why I wasn't tripping. A lot of what was going wrong out there was us missing layups. But the thing about it was him getting the offensive boards. If you look at the stat sheet, LeBron James had 6 offensive rebounds tonight, so he was in the thick of the force. Not only was he being pushed on the offensive end and fouled without getting any calls, but on the offensive end, he's also boxing out, recovering people's missed layups and recovering his own missed layups without getting called as well. So that's a lot of physical punishment. And then you got to look at how the coach was subbing him in the game. LeBron James got subbed into the game early in the fourth quarter and basically played throughout the rest of the game, including 2 overtimes. Now, mind you, this is in a game where he's already being physically pushed more so than usual because of how Jason Kidd is putting double teams and triple teams on him from the very first quarter. So you got to understand, this is a very physical game. He's exerting more energy physically because coach won't sub in Thomas Bryant to get those offensive rebounds, so instead he has to do it because ain't nobody else rebounding out there. You know what I mean? Because we didn't sub in Max Christie, who would also been fantastic on the board. And to be honest with you, I thought Wenyen Gabriel was excellent, but he had his hands full. He was doing all he could, but because coach left him out there and LeBron James out there, they're both undersized. So they both had to deal with Christian Wood and Luka Doncic and all the other lengthy players they had out there. And it was one of those situations where it's like, okay, now you got other people you have to account for who are attacking you offensively. You had Spencer Dinwiddie getting ready to get going. You had Christian Wood hitting threes. You had a lot of people on this team. Reggie Bullock was going off. It was a lot of different players attacking us, and our coach just did not understand how best to defend this team because Luka Doncic was also going off in his bag, creating a lot of those plays for his teammates. It was like, it's so much going on. And then you have the situation where the coach doesn't want to play certain guys because of the matchups and his philosophy on matchups. And then he removed his mainstay guy, who's Patrick Beverly, who he's been leaning on every single game for the whole season. So it's like he don't know what to do because he don't have that mainstay as well. Which is ridiculous because we all know he should probably be buried in the back of the bench any damn way. But this is Darvin Ham and what he's his scheduled and what he's got going on. So it's like if you have to remove that piece, that's a difficult piece for him to put into his equation. New things and new rotations based on the consistency in which he's been using Patrick. So, it's a lot for a rookie coach. And when he leans on stuff that just don't make sense anyway, with all due respect, it just don't make sense anyway, it's going to make for a jambalaya of nonsense when you go up against a player like Luka Doncic, who's not only playing at a high level, but I think it's easy to see that his games are officiated a certain way. It's easy to see. When you see a whole quarter where no calls are whistled at all, where they just don't call any whistles. I mean, I don't think I've seen a stretch of basketball that went that long without a whistle in my life. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. It was just free-flowing basketball, and you could see LeBron James and Russell Westbrook are being fouled on every play, but they're just not calling it. You know what I mean? So I just thought this was highly manipulated. I think the whole season's been highly manipulated. I think it's a little more obvious than usual. And I think tonight, you almost ignore it. I guess through the lens I was watching, I was more so looking at the things our team wasn't doing properly, the rotations our coach wasn't putting on the floor properly, and looking at that as a means of why everything was not really working out for us. But there was a lot going on wrong down there, including what Dallas was doing, which they must get a lot of credit for on both sides of the floor. So that's what I wanted to say. I know LeBron's getting a lot of flack, and he deserves plenty of it. The fact of the matter is, I always say there's a solution to wanting to conserve energy. And I think that's what he was doing when he was shooting threes down the stretch of that basketball game. And the other thing to do is to just make plays for others. Use your passing ability and your ability to draw defense and create plays for others. And and fight for what makes sense. I don't know what's being said or not being said, but when you have a guy like Thomas Bryant down there who's really, really fresh and he's known for giving you energy and he's 7 feet tall, the best thing you can do in your second overtime is just sub him in and send him straight at guys who've been playing 2 overtimes. I mean, these are things that are not really too hard to think about when you consider he's a high energy guy who's getting rebounds and dunking the ball all the time and hitting mid-range shots. I mean, he could have came in with the fresh legs that he had not played since the damn third quarter or something, and he immediately strung together 3 and 4 quick, easy points for us. That would have happened. Everybody was exhausted. Both teams. They wouldn't have known what was coming. And these are things like Max Christie is as fresh as he had been playing, as fast as he was running around. I just don't understand why we didn't go with fresh legs in that game, man. I really don't. Fresh legs in a game where LeBron James is exhausted, Dennis Schroeder can't hit a shot, Wenyen Gabriel's exhausted, and you're leaning on Troy Brown, who hadn't played in like 5 or 6 games, fresh off injury, and you got him playing in second overtime and first overtime without any substitution. And Lord knows that man was fouled in the 3-point shot there by the letter of the law, in the NBA, that is. Not in the NBA I grew up in. In the NBA I grew up in, that's probably a no call. Even though, to be honest with you, now that I think about it, he was hitting his arm. When they slowed it down, he was actually hit on his arm. Yeah, I forgot that slow motion angle that I saw at the very end of that. He was hit on his arm. Damn, I really did forget about that whole thing. This is why I wanted to make this video. I was so frustrated about that game that the details of that game, they had escaped me, man. I was just frustrated. But there was a lot of calls down there to just help you understand that there's a lot of conspiracy merit out there. You see teams doing all kinds of crazy stuff with scores going up to 150, 147. See players scoring 60, 70 points. It's like, it's fun, I guess, to watch if you didn't grow up watching the NBA. If this is like the very first time you're watching the NBA, this is super fun because you're from a video game era and you love it. But if you've been watching the NBA for a long time, this is just like turning the difficulty down to easy mode. You know, like you're making it really, really beginner on us right now. And watching it is hard to watch because you know people can't play defense. And it's just going to get more and more offensive basketball and less defensive intangibles, which is going to make for scores going higher and higher and higher, and guys being less and less skilled on the defensive end. It's bad basketball, you guys. It's the easy way out. You want to teach everybody how to do everything that's cute to do, but you don't want to teach them how to stop all that cute stuff. So how can they possibly win? You know what I mean? It's like, no, you're not teaching people how to win. You're teaching them how to just dance. And there should be a different league for that. You feel me? There should be a different league for what the NBA is trying to do here. Because this isn't the NBA. This isn't basketball. You know, it's synchronized dancing and just not allowing people to play defense whatsoever. And even though you want to take away some of the physicality, and knowing that injuries happen and things like that occur, I don't know that you're really taking away the injuries at all. To be honest with you, I don't think it equates to that. So, yeah, what I saw tonight was just another layer of manipulation that is really easy to see. And I don't rule out the fact that it could have always been there. I've heard old school commentary where they've talked about they felt the games were rigged or guys were doing things that weren't right or whatever. But this is a different level. This seems like both teams were cooperating on it. I felt the same way on Christmas Day when we played the Dallas Mavericks. I felt like we were doing certain things that just played straight into their hands that would showcase Luka Doncic. I really did. And tonight didn't feel no different. I mean, why in the hell would we send Thomas Bryant for 2 overtimes? That doesn't help us. And you got to really think about these type of things. Like, you got to ask yourself, why did the Lakers do things that absolutely did not help them? While Luka Doncic just hit bucket after bucket. It's like, are we not trying to showcase this guy? Like, if I'm the NBA commissioner and I'm like, all right, I want to showcase Luka Doncic, there are going to be certain nights where the Lakers are going to have to just bow down and just let it happen. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to showcase this guy. It's for the betterment of the league. I'm sure they did it with all the superstars coming up. They did it with Bron. They did it with Kobe. They did it with Mike. I'm sure. I just didn't see it through that lens. But now, as a grown-up, you have to wonder if they've been doing it the whole time. You have to. Because you can definitely see they're doing it now. Maybe it's good for business. I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater just looking at this. Maybe I'm stepping on people's bag. I don't know. But this, it's just whack to me, man. It's whack. I don't like it. I don't think it's real basketball. You know, I don't find it to be very competitive. I don't think people even really know how to win. And a lot of superstars that we say are the greatest players, they don't know how to close games. That's what I saw tonight. Players don't know how to close games. I've been critiquing LeBron James, and one of the biggest flaws he has is his time management down the stretch of basketball games and how he uses pace as a means of trying to close games. He has no idea how to do it. His coaches, in my humble opinion, probably didn't really understand the concept as well as they needed to instill it in him. They taught him how to run the score up. But when it comes down to the end of the game, that's a whole different science. If it's tied up and it's 2 minutes left, that's a whole different science that you have to master in order to win games. And I watch guys do it right for a long time, and I watch guys do it wrong as well, so I know the difference. And watching LeBron James do it, no, man, he doesn't know how to close basketball games. Not properly. Not the way I was taught how to do it. 2-minute drills, 3-minute drills, 4-minute drills. He does it opposite. Like the complete opposite. You got to keep doing what works. You know what I mean? Slowing down the pace and all that stuff, it only makes sense in certain situations. And in these, it doesn't. And tonight, settling for 3-point shots and stuff like that, you're playing into the defense's hands. Russell Westbrook, same thing. You know what I'm saying? I watched this guy. If I'm not mistaken, it was some type of scenario where it was like 30 seconds to go. We had the lead. And he ends up rushing at the basket early in the shot clock for a bucket. And I'm like, brother, we got the clock. We got the clock. I kept saying, we got the clock. We got the clock. And he's just rushing to another play. I think we were either up by 1. Yeah, that's what it was. We were up by 1 with like 30-something seconds to go. All you got to do is time management. That's what we're talking about. Sometimes it makes sense to speed up. Other times it don't. This made no sense to speed up. If you're up, the clock is in your favor. The defense needs to be trying to rush themselves into a situation where they stop the clock, not the other way around. Russell Westbrook does this. He bricks it, as we've been talking about. And then LeBron James gets the offensive rebound, and he attempts a shot. And I'm sitting there like, neither one of you guys understand what the hell is going on right now. You're up. All you need to be doing is resetting the basketball and allowing them to foul a good free throw shooter. Why in the hell is Russell Westbrook on the floor in that situation, coach? Down the stretch of a basketball game, you're supposed to put your best free throw shooters on the floor. When in a close situation, when you know you're about to be fouled. Whatever happened to basketball strategy? This is what I'm talking about. Even coaches don't understand basketball strategy that I learned when I was 16 years old with a video game controller in my hand. You need to put your best free throw shooters on the floor. Russell Westbrook shouldn't even been on the floor to miss no free throws. That's what I'm talking about. Low basketball IQ. I didn't articulate that very well in that first video because I was too frustrated to do so, but I am able to now. Stupidity on the basketball floor. That's all it is, man. People not understanding the concept of basketball. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's not as simple as running back and forth, knowing how to shoot, doing Euro steps and all kinds of other stuff. You got to know concepts so that you can close basketball games. And if you don't understand those concepts, you had better run the score all the way up, or you're probably going to lose. And that's why this team, the Lakers this year, is losing so many close games. Because every single body on this damn team doesn't understand these concepts that I'm talking about. From the coach to the players. They don't get it. And that's why they're the worst closing team in the league. So as I said, they need to talk to people like Derek Fisher. I keep invoking his name on his camera because I'm not kidding about this. He was good at it. It was one of his gifts. And for a bunch of professionals who are absolutely clueless about this, they need someone to come in and teach them this. It's no shame in learning something new, guys. I promise it ain't no shame. But there is a whole lot of shame in losing games like this. There's a whole lot of shame when you lose games like the Indy game, the Celtics game, this game, the Philly game. Just nonsensical low basketball IQ stuff. Guys call themselves Hall of Famers and GOATs, but don't understand when they have the lead to pull the ball out and let the clock run. Irritating, man. For somebody who loves the science of basketball, grew up on people like Mike and Kobe, this is a disgrace. I see why people like Isaiah Thomas are not happy, and the people, the old school guys, they're telling you this is bad, y'all. This is not the sport they love. This ain't it. Adam Silver is doing something else with it. It's not right. And as far as what they teaching these kids in the AAU, it ain't just about running the score up, y'all. Because you're going to have to play in tight games. And you can stumble yourselves into wins, but there's a way you can secure those wins against stupid teams like this. You can win championships if you do these things properly. These guys don't know it, and you will run it up on them. If they can't blow you out, you will beat them up if you do these things properly. Clock management is to be studied. Pace to be studied. There's a how-to in regards to closing games. And I think it's a forgotten sport. I think it's a forgotten art. But we gonna remind them. We're going to learn it together. We're going to remind them. Because these little concepts that we have here, It's not like they haven't been done over and over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So, I'm sick of bad basketball. I would love to think what Greg Popovich, some of these coaches who are from that era who are still here, I want to know what they think of this garbage. What does Greg Popovich think of this trash that we're watching right now? Because he's one of the greats at that. If anybody knows how to win a championship in this era, it's him. It's a damn shame he has to tank during this era, because he should have a team like the Lakers or the Brooklyn Nets or a core like that, because he would teach them how to close these games and end this nonsense. They win championships every year. I'm telling you, the team that's going to win the championship this year, in my opinion, is going to be the team that manages this stuff better than anybody else. Because we ain't the only team in this league that doesn't understand this stuff. It's plenty of them. You watch the Philadelphia 76ers, they're clueless. They have no idea how to close basketball games. I'm just being honest. So the team that figures that out, the team that understands that and masters that, you're going to win in this era. If they can't blow you out, they're going to lose. Shoot, I think Luka Doncic probably got it better than anybody else right now. From what I saw tonight, he closed us out smooth. I wouldn't be surprised if he hoists the trophy at the end. Especially the way that everybody's unable to defend him. The way the games are officiated when he's on the floor. Yeah, it's kind of shaping up that way. It's absurd, man. It's absurd. And I ain't even mad at Luka. That's the thing. He's out here balling. It ain't like he's it's not like what they've catered to him he's failing and doing. The dude is acting completely out in the midst of all of this. He's putting up some of the best basketball numbers, playing great ball, outsmarting everybody. There's no secret. He outdueled LeBron James tonight. Ain't no secret. You know what I mean? But it was a lot to that. I think if LeBron James would have had a proper center on the floor, maybe if he would have had his full team on the floor, I think Luka Doncic loses this game pretty easily. You know what I'm saying? I think if Anthony Davis is out there, I think this game is over really quickly. You know, these type of things you just got to take into account. Do we like losing these type of games? Of course not. But do we understand how undermanned we are? Yeah, we do. We understand. So, you know, that's a flaw of the core as well. This is a flaw of the franchise. But yeah, man, that's about all I got for it. I'm going to listen to this and get some sleep. That's about it. The Lakers have frustrated me. I'm sure I'll have more content for you guys tomorrow in regards to this team, of course. I know they got a game coming up against the Rockets, so we'll be doing homework on them. And, you know, Alperen Sengun is starting to step forward, from what I understand, so we got to pay attention to him. I think that's the guy we're going to have to really, really keep an eye on. But they got an entire team full of youngsters. It's not going to be easy going up against them, especially the way we've been playing. They've been beating good teams. That's the thing. So, shouldn't be a problem beating us. Anyway, that's what I got to say, man. VDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.